What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Fantasy Flex from the Action Network and Fantasy Labs. I'm your host, Chris Raybon, and I am joined, as always, by the odds maker, Sean Koerner. Sean, congrats again on your top 5 Fantasy Pros rankings accuracy finishing season long over the past 3 seasons. Consistent as always. I dig it.
Yeah, and congrats on the top 10 multi-year accuracy. And I see behind you, you have your top 5 trophy. Was that from last year?
One of them broke, or it's like a part popped up.
How'd that happen?
So yeah,
is there a story behind that?
Is there a story behind? Nah, I tend to like move stuff around behind me. So I usually like 2 is a lot. I think I have 2 or 3, but like 2 is a lot.
Yeah.
So it's like I usually kind of shift one, and it part of it kind of popped off, and yeah, it is what it is. I'll just get a new one.
Yeah, there you go. I thought there was gonna be like a Gabe Davis story.
Oh, when I ripped up. What did I rip off? Was that just a white tee, or was it a jersey? No, it wasn't a jersy. I think it was just
regular
a
T-shirt
or something. Yeah,
Yeah.
And then that was the one the Bills lost in 13 seconds, right?
Yes.
But Gabe had 14 tutties. Yeah.
Yeah, you kept that shirt for a while. Very significant.
Yeah, man. I mean, yeah, I should have ripped up my CJ Stroud jersey, as shaky as their season was last year. I should have ripped up my Mahomes jersey too, and freaking the way their Super Bowl came to an end. But I digress. Yeah. We're gonna go AFC. We're gonna do our deep dive, training camp questions, try to get ahead of our deep sweepers, talk about the guys that we're feeling good about at the top of the board, guys we're certain about, and really try to identify where the uncertainty lies and how we're handicapping it and what we're preparing for heading into the meat of draft season. So we'll start with the AFC South, but a quick reminder, the Fantasy Labs app is now available. So you can go and download it, and it's going to have all of our rankings, projections, bunch of cool stuff in there to get you ready for draft season. We're really excited, so make sure you go and download the new Fantasy Labs app right now. You can get $20 off the normal website price when you download the Fantasy Labs app and sign up for an NFL subscription today. Again, that is the all-new Fantasy Labs app. All right, AFC South, Sean, let's start with the Houston Texans that I just mentioned. We know Nico is a baller, top 10 wide receiver. Will any of the other ancillary weapons in this new Nick Caley offense return startable fantasy value? And I'm talking about Christian Kirk, who likely starts in the slot. I'm talking Jaden Higgins, a rookie, and I'm talking fellow rookie teammate Jalen Noel. Which one of those guys is your guy, if any?
Oh, there is somebody. It is absolutely Jaden Higgins. And there's targets up for grabs because, they lost Stephon Diggs, who's now at the Patriots. And unfortunately, Tank Dell probably won't be able to play this year after that very scary injury. So, yeah, I think, Kirk and Higgins will step up as starters. But I love Higgins as a rookie. He's actually pretty similar to Nico Collins. Like, he's a big-bodied ex-receiver. He's 6'4", 215, but he's very explosive and fast for his size, and very good hands. He had one of the lowest drop rates in college football last year. So he's going to be able to make defenses pay if they pay too much attention to Nico Collins, which they should, obviously. So I think he's a good fit in this offense. And my comp for him is actually T. Higgins. I think he's pretty similar to T. Higgins. There's no relation here, though. But I think he's just a smash play if you can get him outside the top 50. I just think there's too much upside for him in this offense, even though his ceiling is probably the number 2 target. I just think it's there, especially if you think, CJ Stroud's going to bounce back this year, which I do. So I love getting Jaden Higgins anytime he falls outside the top 50.
Yeah, he's definitely exciting, and I think what is going to benefit him is that Nico is a true X as well, and yeah, you brought in Christian Kirk who can play the slot, and that's what it sounds like he's been doing in camp. So your Higgins is going to get to actually play some some flanker, which means he won't just be tethered to the line of scrimmage. And he actually did. If there's one kind of hold a poke in his game, is that he probably didn't play like a true X in college. He's more of a zone beater, and so I think it will actually benefit him to not just have to immediately slide into an X role and be tethered to the line of scrimmage and deal with a ton of press and whatnot. I think in this new Nick Caley offense, they're going to find ways to get him in space and, get him open down the field. And you know what it kind of reminds me of? This Texan receiving core? CJ Stroud's rookie year, where you have Nico, and then I almost think Higgins is kind of like, remember Noah Brown had a few monster games that year?
Yeah.
I actually think that's what Higgins kind of reminds me of. Just hopefully it's more consistent. And then Jalen Noel would be Tank Dell, and Christian Kirk would be Robert Woods. And there you go.
There you go. That's a pretty good comp. Yeah, I didn't think of it
Completely
that way.
New offense, though. Completely new offense.
Yeah, for sure.
What you got for me, Houston? What you looking at?
Yeah, so let's talk about our boy Nick Chubb. Obviously, just the fact that he was able to return last season was incredible, just given how severe his knee injury was. And it wasn't shocking to see, he only averaged 3.3 yards per carry last year, which is very not like Nick Chubb. So my question is he going to return anything close to his pre-injury form, just given his age? He is, I think, around 30. Or is he just cooked? Like, was that like a career-ending injury, so to speak? Do you think he has anything left in the tank?
I mean, no, but the bar is also pretty low. I mean, you're talking about a team that was feeding Devin Singletary, and then, Joe Mixon looked pretty good last year, and we thought we had questions about his aging. So it's certainly possible, but I think Houston, I think this is just kind of the style of back they just tend to favor it, regardless of who's the offensive coordinator. They just want, they tend to roll with these veteran guys. I don't know if it's a Nick Caserio thing or a D'Amico thing or what, but he's probably going to get some burn. And I think the bigger question is, does it have an impact on Joe Mixon? I lean toward yes, because I feel like you don't get Nick Chubb to not play him at, he's not a special teamer. Like, if he's active, he's gonna play, and he's probably gonna get his share of carries, and those would probably come early down, maybe even goal line. I mean, Mixon's another guy that really hasn't played much. Like, they don't necessarily always like to play him on passing downs, but they also got Woody Marks. So, like, what's your just overall view of this backfield? Because it is a new offensive coordinator in Caley. Do you see the roles shifting for Mixon at all?
Yeah, that could be the case, and that would be a concern for Mixon, because he does tend to just rely on volume. He wasn't as efficient, last season, and didn't really have they don't really like Dameon Pierce that much, and when Mixon was out, they really struggled to replace him. So I think they just needed to add depth anyway behind him. But yeah, if Chubb, I don't think he's going to be averaging over 5 yards a carry again or anything like that. But if he does bounce back, like, he could definitely eat into Mixon's role enough to where I'd be very concerned taking Mixon as like a high end RB2. But if Nick Chubb just doesn't have it, then Mixon's still going to be a workhorse back, which I covet in this day and age in the NFL. So I will be kind of monitoring it very closely, how Nick Chubb looks in camp and reading reports and stuff like that, because I think he could eat into Mixon's work more than any backup he's seen recently. So I don't know, to answer your question, but it's definitely something I'm going to be monitoring.
Yeah, I'm down on Mixon. I just think the writing is on the wall when you have an aging back, a guy who never was known for really playing on passing downs, and now you have a potential threat to some of his early down and or goal line work. And I'm not big on third down work. Like, I think that's been overrated in this modern NFL, because if you have a feature back, the best time for him to take a breather is third down, because you're going to have to pass block more. And if you're throwing your running back on third down, you're probably punting. So you much rather have that back, jog to the sidelines, let somebody else handle it, and then jog back in. Third down work is not necessary in this day and age, but now you're talking about a guy who could eat into the early down, the goal line work, and who knows? I mean, maybe if Dameon Pierce were better last year and, kind of grasped the new blocking schemes and whatnot, they would have not given Mixon as much work as they did, because they really ran Mixon into the ground last year. I was surprised. Now, he did look good for most of the year, but yeah, I want to be ahead of. There's another guy just like Montgomery we talked about in the NFC pod. I'd rather be a year early. I don't see Mixon as a league winner, especially with Chubb and so. Now there's a chance maybe Chubb just like doesn't have it and ends up as like a cap, training camp cut. So you always got to watch out for that. But assuming he makes the roster, he's going to be active because he doesn't play special teams, which means he would probably cut into Mixon's work one way or another. Could be like a Gus Edwards situation, except I don't know if Mixon has a J.K. Dobbins season in him. He could, but yeah, that's kind of for Chubb what I'm thinking. Like probably a nondescript early down grinder role. Indianapolis. We know the quarterback situation's in flux. I'm not going to talk about that anymore. I'm still on team. I'm still on team Richardson, but for fantasy that is. But let's say because of this quarterback situation, you do have some pass catchers that you can get pretty late. You can build some stacks around. So my question to you is, who ends up emerging as the top value, top receiver, whatever you want to call it? We'll call it value since they're all similarly ADP'd. Josh Downs, Michael Pittman, Tyler Warren. Choose one. And I'm not including Alec Pierce because we know he's going to give you like 4 or 5 80-yard touchdowns. So I'm not including him. But out of those three guys who are a threat for volume, who are you taking? Downs, Pittman, or Warren?
It's definitely close. I probably can't take Warren just because I like Colson Loveland more. So I think I'm going to have to go with a receiver here. I'm going to go with Josh Downs. And unfortunately, that might require Daniel Jones to start more games than Anthony Richardson. I think that would help Josh Downs out specifically. So I think those are correlated. I think if I'm doing some crazy Colts stack, I would pair Daniel Jones with Josh Downs. But I just think Josh Downs' upside is there. He's probably less reliant on touchdowns than Michael Pittman. So I'm going to go with Josh Downs. What about you?
Yeah, it's Josh Downs for me. Warren number 2. At Pittman would be 3rd. I think Downs is just a better separator, better route runner, just a better receiver than Pittman. And I love me some Michael Pittman, but I think the injuries, the role, the quarterback situation, the emergence of Downs, the other weapons that he's competing with now, the likelihood that you're still going to be a run-heavy team, just all of those things kind of add up, kind of go against Pittman. He's going to be reliant on touchdowns and heavy volume, which might not see either of those things.
Let's just throw it out there. Who starts more games this year, Daniel Jones or Anthony Richardson?
Anthony Richardson.
How many more? Like, how many games are you projecting?
13
to start. Okay, so that's very bullish. Do we have the latest on his like shoulder injury? Is he going to be ready for camp, or is he still? Is he still going to be?
I've heard that. I've heard optimistic. Like, okay, he's going to be like. It was kind of like when it was initially reported. What were we in, like April or May? So they're like, there's no timetable. Well, yeah, teams aren't putting timetables on April injuries. But from what I hear, he should be all systems go. Now that's that. If he's not, then I'm off of him. But if he is, I think he's severely undervalued because he's among the top 7 or 8 quarterbacks in terms of, top 5 finishes over the last couple of years, even with his abbreviated playing time. So he's one of those guys that still carries that massive upside because he runs the football. He has weapons around him if he ever figures out how to throw the football.
Yeah.
I, as a Giants fan, I know that when you're like the biggest cosign you can give, like the biggest kind of vote of confidence you can give for your starter is to have him compete with Daniel Jones. Like this is the guy that got cut so they could play Tommy DeVito. Nick Boyle. I don't even know what these guys like. Drew Lock. Come on now. Daniel Jones is not good. He can pepper Malik Neighbors, so I guess he could pepper Josh Downs. He probably is better, but even that, I don't know if he's truly better because he's just such a terrible quarterback. He could like sink the entire offense and make Jonathan Taylor look shaky again. So I hope it's Richardson, but I think it's everyone's so down on him that I've been scooping him up everywhere I can. I think he's got the deep ball. He's got the running ability. He's got the upside, and he only left. I think it was one game due to injury. He played 100% of the snaps in all of his other games, except one snap where he was tired in one game.
Right, that was the problem.
Right, but it's not like he was, in and out of games like he was as a rookie. It was just, but of course, the minute you say that, then he goes and there's a new report of an injury, but. Point is, he's a guy, it's kind of like a Cam Newton situation. He's going to be banged up his entire career. He's not a great thrower of the football, but he just has so much rushing upside that some odd years, he's going to be like a top 5 quarterback. Other years, he's going to be just a complete bust. But the difference between this year and last year is last year he was going like QB6, QB8. And this year he's going outside the top 24. So you can get him as a QB3. I think there's literally zero downside. So that's why I'm taking him over, some of the other guys in that range. I just think, like, even if Daniel Jones does start, I don't think there's that same kind of upside. Like, I just think it's a new offense, new weapons, Jonathan Taylor. Like, I just don't see the same upside. We've been down this road with Daniel Jones before, and he got cut after 6 games. So I'm off that. I'm off Daniel Jones. Do we have a line for week 1 starter?
No, because of the injury, but they do have who will lead the team in passing yards. So this is, season long.
Same. Yeah.
Prop. Yeah, I would assume if Anthony Richardson is healthy, he'll start week 1. They have to see what they have in him. And then Daniel Jones will be the disaster, got to turn him. But they have Daniel Jones minus 150 to lead the Colts in passing yards. Richardson's plus 125 and Riley Leonard is 40-1.
Yeah. The 2 non-Jones guys. I was about to say Riley Leonard outside shot if things go poorly for the Colts. Wouldn't you want to see what you have in him? Daniel Jones. Yeah. The thing that worries me about Daniel Jones is that Kevin O'Connell didn't even bother. Like that to me is, it's like, like they got it, that he was on the team, and Kevin O'Connell will play anybody at quarterback, but like they didn't even bother. They were like, nah, we're gonna go with who they got in there? Sam Howell now, I think it is.
I believe so.
Yeah. It's like, and they got a rookie starting, so it's like, you would have thought Daniel Jones would have been somebody they would have brought back, but
more of a vet, yeah.
Nope, but yeah, I like those odds. I'm gonna bet that. Jacksonville, another team, one of our favorite teams to talk about. I where I stand on this, but where are you at? Because I'm sure this is going to be dynamic, and this is another one of those situations that won't be settled until camp, and there could even be a trade or something like that. But where are you with the Jaguar backfields in terms of the usage distribution between Travis Etienne, Tank Bigsby, and rookie Bashal Tutin?
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack here. I think overall, the running game's going to be better this year. I think that's what Liam Cohen will bring. We saw it with the Buccaneers last year. Buck Irving stole the headlines. He was amazing, but Rachaad White had his most efficient season. Sean Tucker was extremely efficient. I think he averaged over 6 yards a carry. So I just think that, he's going to elevate this rushing attack in general. So I think Travis Etienne gets the first crack. Now, he might get traded or something. Then that really throws a wrench into things. But I think Etienne will get first crack. I thought Tank Bixby was great last year. Very good on early downs, very efficient. So he could make noise. I don't see many people talking about him. And then your boy, Bayshal Tootin, probably the most likely player to be this year's Bucky Irving, because he is playing for Liam Cohen, could pop too. So this is just a very volatile backfield. Where more times than not in these situations, I just tend to go with the cheaper guy. I think all of these guys have a shot to be a potential league winner. So this is definitely a situation that's I'm going into training camp with my priors of having ETN, Tootin, and then Bigsby in terms of how I'm ranking them. But it's going to be very volatile where we're going to have to kind of react to beat reporters, unfortunately, and just camp and potentially preseason. But this is a situation where really any one of these backs could become the guy. But in what I think will be a very more efficient rushing offense than we've seen from Jacksonville.
Yep. Can't say enough good things about Cohen. I mean, the work he did with that run game, because a lot of people might think, okay, well, the Bucs ended up as one of the top rushing teams, mostly due to Bucky Irving. But no, they took an offensive line that bottom of the barrel in pretty much every rushing metric, every blocking metric the last 2 years. And both of the same tackles, one of the same interior linemen, and a rookie center. And they go from one of the worst to one of the best in terms of all of those same metrics, yards before contact and whatnot. It sounds cliche, but it was buy-in, and that's pretty rare. And it with scheme as well. But I think Liam Cohen's scheming really shines in the pass game. And that's why I would I'm with you. I think Bigsby has to be number 3, because you could see Bigsby as their Sean Tucker. Like, Sean Tucker was really good, and then it was like, okay, well, we got Rachaad White, and that's ETN. ETN is Rachaad White.
Yeah.
Tootin's Irving, and Bigsby ends up as Tucker or gets traded. But I think there is a possibility that one of them gets traded, and I would lean Bigsby because at the end of the day, he tends to be more limited in the pass game, and I don't think that's going to fly with Liam Cohen. Like, he needs those guys to be able to catch the ball and be an asset there. And that's even though ETN has struggled as a runner in situations, I do think he brings a lot more to the pass game than Bigsby. All right, what are you looking at in this Jags offense? Because there's a lot. This could be a very high upside offense.
Yeah, well, yeah. I think the trickiest projection is just rookie Travis Hunter, because he's such a unique player. Where, one of the top wide receivers this year's class, but also one of the top cornerbacks. So what I'm going to be looking for, what I'm going to ask you is just how much should we expect Travis Hunter to be on offense versus defense? And is he going to miss playing time on offense just because, he can't play the entire game, right? So kind of what do you expect his ratio between like offensive and defensive snaps will be this year?
As much offense as he can handle. Defense, situational defense. I think the fact that we have an offensive-minded head coach is what swings it for me. Like, you don't take over, come from being having one of the best coordinator seasons in recent memory. You take over. Remember, there was all that weird stuff. You get the GM fired. You get your guy put in. You trade up for Travis Hunter. You're an offensive guy. Your offense stunk last year. You already have a generational wide receiver. You need to take the pressure off of him. You don't really have anyone else that can do that. You have Diami Brown, role player, could be a good best ball pick. Brenton Strange, another one, but role player. And Parker Washington, another role player. You have good role players, but without Travis Hunter, like with Travis Hunter lining up across from Brian Thomas Jr., that's where this offense gets, okay, we can go from 20 points a game to 30 points a game like the Bucs did. Like that's who gives him that upside. So I think he plays as much offense as possible. I just think Cohen's being a little bit coy about the defense, but come on, he's an offensive guy. Like, what's he gonna do? Just, Travis, just go to the defensive meeting. Nah, man, he's gonna be in every wide receiver meeting, and then he's just, they already do that with some guy. Like, remember Edelman used to play some defense. Like, he'll be out there maybe third downs, key, maybe red zone, key spots, he'll be out there, both sides of the ball. I'm sure he'll ask into the game quite a bit on defense as well. But if you don't think he's gonna get his like offense priority, I mean, I'm not even gonna question it, because we saw last year every single receiver for the Bucs balled out under Cohen. So guy as talented as Hunter, I don't want to overthink it. I'm just gonna treat him like he's gonna be I think I have him about 75%, which is conservative, 75-80%. And he might end up just being a true 90 plus guy. Where are you at with his route rate right now?
Yeah, I'm in line. I think around like 70% to start. Okay. But yeah, he should be playing like over 90%. And I have my defensive projections too, where I think I don't know, I might have him around like 20% to start. It's hard to say. That's the area that I'm not really sure. And like you said, they're probably being coy about it. But they traded up to get him number 2. So I think they're just going to want him to provide something on defense. So especially, if their cornerbacks pick up injuries or something, he might be asked to play more defense. But it's just one of the more fascinating things I've seen, just having this two-way player. So it'll be fun to see and fun to watch. And I agree. I think having him line up across from Brian Thomas Jr. is too good to pass up. So they're going to try to play him as much as possible in offense.
Yeah, and keep tabs on the Jags defense as well, because remember, this is all big regime change, Trent Baalke out. So I've been hearing, some of the younger cornerbacks are actually having good camps, and that could mitigate the need to play Hunter quite as much. Because I think some people thought he may even start, but I'm hearing good things about some of their other corners. And remember, this is another one of those teams. It's like the Saints, where you might kind of be sour on them after a lot of years. And I don't even want to call it purgatory. It might be worse than that, but it just hasn't been pretty much of the time for the Jacksonville Jaguars. But a new regime, offensive minded head coach. So don't sleep. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm taking every Jags player pretty much because a lot of times the true upside and, guys that kind of break out that, weren't predicted to, it's concentrated. It could be very concentrated among a select group of teams. Like, I think the Packers are a candidate with all their passing game guys being undervalued. I think the Jaguars with Cohen, and there's a few other spots, but like Hunter, I'm not gonna pass up on him, because he's just too good. Like, it's like remember Odell Beckham that year? He was like all those question marks. I think he started the year, he was like injured. That's a guy where the talent overrode the early injury. With Hunter, he's not even hurt. It's just, will he play some defense? I don't care, man. I just give me all the Jaguars. All right, Titans. Speaking of like opposite end of the spectrum, they brought Callahan over last year from from Cincinnati to Tennessee, but did not look like a Joe Burrow offense. I guess it looked like a Joe Burrow week 1 and 2 offense there in Tennessee, but you did have a bright spot, and that was Tony Pollard, who kind of turned into a true workhorse. Can you have a repeat? Do you think it's, it would be kind of chasing last year to draft him as your running back too?
Yeah, this is a great question, because I think there's a lot of layers of this, because last year I was kind of low on Pollard. He his last season in Dallas, he came back from that like high ankle injury. He just didn't look the same, so it was hard to really project him. But then I saw him, it was like week 1 or 2 of preseason. He looked like old Tony Pollard, pre-injury Tony Pollard. So I started moving him up my ranks. I was starting to get pretty high on Pollard, but he also benefited from Tajay Spears just missing a ton of time, and that was going to be a situation we thought it'd be more of an even timeshare. So he looked really good last year. He looked good as a workhorse back, but I think a lot of that was due to Spears being out, and I still think very highly of Tajay Spears. He's healthy right now, so if he stays healthy, I think he's going to eat into Pollard's role more this year. I think, Callahan was saying that at times last year, whenever Spears is healthy, he said we need to give Pollard some breathers. He's been seeing too many touches or things like that. I think Callahan probably wants us to be closer to a committee than people would hope. that are drafting Pollard. So I have him, right around like RB24. He's not exactly like a frozen pond back, but I would just be careful that, we probably won't see him be a true workhorse back as much as last year, even though he looked really good doing it. So he's definitely a mixed bag, but I think Spears could eat into that more this year.
He's absolutely a frozen pond back. I mean, I feel like I have no idea what's going to happen with Tony Pollard. He's absolutely a frozen pond back in my pond anyway.
Yeah. Like if I go through the practical definition, he could be, but he's been a legit running back at times. So I don't think of him as a frozen pond back, but I think the market will probably be overrating him too much just based on what I said. Just, Spears missing all that time. So, yeah, he could be a frozen pond back. I'll get back to you on that. Still trying to figure out who's in the pond this year.
Yeah, like he could, because he did look good on film last year.
Yeah.
And so he does have some of that James Conner appeal where it's like we might just be writing him off and he just keeps balling out. Also, the offense couldn't get any worse than it was last year. But the one thing that does worry me, that kind of complicates things, and I don't know if this is just lip service, but Callahan has been on numerous occasions this offseason mentioned how he wants to add a different style of back to the offense in addition to Pollard and Spears. It sounds like more of a between the tackles bigger guy. That's why they drafted Khalil Mullings, and I just saw they signed Ty Davis Price, kicked the tires on old Ty Davis Price. So it definitely seems like he does want to add that element to the running back room. And that does worry me because, that could be Pollard, at the goal line or something like that. And you already mentioned Spears probably cuts into his pass down work, which was a lot higher than expected last year. So the floor is a lot lower. The ceiling's still what it is, but just a guy we got to monitor in camp. Because I remember toward the end of last season, he was really tough to project because he wasn't practicing. Remember? He was like, he would go DMP Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then get 25 carries on Sunday. So it's like he would get those like mind fuck, just complete weeks off where you thought he might be more banged up than than they're indicating. And then it's like, no, we're just saving him for the game. So yeah, wide range outcomes with TP, but lower floor, I think, than last year.
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, my question to you is, who the hell is going to be the number 2 receiver behind Calvin Ridley in this offense?
I don't know. Ask somebody drafted. I haven't drafted any of these dudes, man. I feel like I hear a new flavor of the late in best ball drafts every other day. It's like after the draft, I think it was Manor, and then when they signed Restrepo, everyone kind of pivoted to Restrepo. Let's not forget that you got good old trusty Van Jefferson there. Tyler Lockett. You got, and then there's also DK, who probably be more of a factor in the return game, another rookie. So there's literally 2 day 3 picks, 2 washed veterans, and then there's Treylon Burks, so I guess 3 washed veterans. And then there's all these, it's just a mindfuck. Calvin Ridley is the guy I want in that offense. That's pretty much it at this point for me. Calvin Ridley, Cam Ward. I think everything else is going to kind of be touch and go until they figure it out. I mean, do you have any preference among any of the younger guys catch your eye? Because I don't think Lockett or Jefferson are going to provide value. They might just hog snaps if anything. But do you think maybe DK, Restrepo, Manor, any of those guys stand out to you?
No, not really.
Same. Okay.
Not really. I don't think this is a fantasy relevant question. This is just setting projections question. But yeah, it could just be just a medley of guys. I think the Titans would love if Burks were to emerge this year, but he's still coming back from an ACL tear, so I don't even know if he's going to be ready for camp.
It's over. Yeah, it's over.
Yeah, it's over from already. Damn.
I think so. I mean, he wasn't that great already. That's all name value. It's
yeah.
What about our guy Bryce Oliver? He's still there.
yeah. Or what? Who is the
Jaquan Jackson still there. Colton Dowell's still there.
No, who's the slot? Oh, Kyle Phillips. Where the hell is he? Is he like in
Raiders? He's with Pete. He's with Pete
that's right.
Ship.
God, yeah. he would have a chance to be the number 2 receiver in this batch. Yeah. But we'll see. Isn't he?
Yeah, he's on the Panthers.
Yeah, Carolina. Yeah, damn. Yeah. Well, I want none of these guys. I'm with you. I think Ridley's the guy, especially with a more. Yeah, maybe. Well, yeah, different position. But yeah, I'm always on board with the Chig train. But yeah, Ridley, I think just having Cam Ward there, giving him more accurate deep balls will, be huge for someone like Calvin Ridley. So yeah, that's kind of my point. It's just, we'll kind of watch the camp unfold and see what happens. But yeah, anybody outside of Calvin Ridley, I'm not too interested in.
I mean, I will be paying attention. And the only reason I'll be paying attention is two things. Number one, Brian Callahan was previously the offensive coordinator in Cincinnati, and they had no problem throwing the ball 40 times a game with Burrow. Mm-hmm. And so if Cam Ward is, as advertised, you could see Tennessee surprisingly spike to one of the more pass-heavy teams in the league. And I'm always on the lookout for the next Nick Westbrook-Akine. So you do have to kind of pay attention to who's that X receiver going to be. It's because Westbrook-Akine was just a touchdown machine. Now a lot of that, was luck, but the way this offense is kind of sets up the same way where defenses are going to overplay Ridley. He's still going to get his and probably be force-fed targets, but when it comes to those like deep shots in red zone, you might end up having to go to your second and third read. And so I'll be paying attention, but yeah, I think all these guys, it's like best ball flavor of the month, irrelevant, in probably all irrelevant, like as far as I can tell. Fantasy Flex listeners, we've got some very exciting news this year. We're going to do a live Fantasy Flex event on August 23rd. In the Shy at Joe's on Weed Street. Mark your calendars now. Save the date. That's Saturday, August 23rd. Joe's on Weed Street in Chicago. And I'm going to be there. Sean's going to be there. It's going to be a really dope atmosphere. So hoping to meet as many of you guys as we can come through. And you're going to need to RSVP though. And we'll have information about exactly how you can do that right here on the Fantasy Flex podcast in the coming weeks. So be sure to keep it locked. Again, that's Saturday, August 23rd, Joe's on Weed Street in the Shy for the Fantasy Flex live event of 2025. Sean, sounds like it's going to be real lit, man.
Yeah, I'm pumped for this. These live events are always a blast. It's always fun getting to connect with everyone in person. And we're going to have a full slate of preseason games that day. So it's my favorite time of year as well. But yeah, we should be able to watch some of those games together. It's going to be a blast.
Yeah, man. I'm always impressed by the complexity of the questions that people can ask while, getting a little litty. But excited to meet you guys again. That is Saturday, August 23rd. Make sure you save the date if you're going to be in the Chicago area. All right, let's go AFC West. Let's start with the Denver Broncos. Give them some love after that season that they had last year. My question, I got an interesting one. So this year, it's like in addition to everyone just not drafting running backs for a few rounds in the middle of the draft, pretty much no one's drafting quarterbacks or tight ends either. It's like a barbell strategy. Nassim Taleb, if you ever read any of him, where everyone is just drafting all these mid-round receivers. So you have a glut of RB2s and 3s, and then a glut of mid-range, low-end quarterbacks and tight ends that are very attainable and affordable. So my question to you is, would you rather have Bo Nix as your QB1 or Evan Ingram as your tight end 1?
Yeah, this is a great question. I'm going to just go with Bo Nix. I do think just based on ADP, I have him a little bit higher than I do Ingram based on position. So I'm going to go with Bo Nix because he had a very impressive rookie season. Should be better in year 2, thanks to people like Evan Ingram now being in the mix. But Nix still has that rushing upside that we covet in fantasy. So I'm going to go with him. But the interesting thing is when I was debating who to pick, I'm thinking about the Bears player for each alternative option. You can go Caleb Williams and Evan Ingram, or Bo Nix and Colston Loveland. So that's kind of how I was thinking about it. I rather what
that one all day. That combo all day.
Right.
All day.
That's how I decided this. But that's I think the decision, right, in this range.
Evan Ingram might not even be a top 15 tight end. It's surprising to me that he's climbing draft boards because remember I'm like the tight end might not be as good as advertised whisperer with. Remember I think it was, who was it? What's that guy? He doesn't even play anymore. Dulcich. Remember I was like, yo, Sean Payton has a knack for not playing these tight ends as much as we think. And the issue for me with Evan Ingram is that yes, he's going to absolutely make Bo Nix better, which is why I want Bo Nix. But there's just so many options now and mouths to feed in this offense because you have Harvey and Dobbins at running back, and Harvey's a guy that they've been likening to like a Darren Sproles type. Then at receiver, Troy Franklin's running with the starters and having a great camp apparently, and he already had chemistry with Bo Nix. And then Pat Bryant, Sean Payton's comparing him to Michael Thomas, and he's currently running as the number 4. And he what ends up happening is Mims probably is the one to actually drop out of the rotation, but he had a monster finish to last year, and he's going to be involved one way or another as a gadget guy. So and then you had Vele, who probably is like a game day healthy and active now at this point with the way their receiving core is looking. So I just think there's too many mouths to feed, and then there's still Troutman, Adkins, Lucas Kroll at tight end, right? Like there's just too many guys for me to confidently say Evan Ingram's going to dominate targets behind Courtland Sutton, but Bo Nix has a significantly better weapons than last season, had a great rookie season, and he has just enough rushing upside as well. And now he has more. Like he has deep ball guys, he has contested catch guys, he has jitterbug type gadget guys that could take like a screen past 60 yards. At multiple of these guys at each position, and in addition to a guy like Ingram. So like you look around and Ingram might end up being like the least sexy Bronco. Like somebody's not going to hit value for the Broncos, kind of like the Bears. It's like somebody's not going to hit value. Ingram might end up being that guy. Like I'm surprised everyone's going quite like tight end 8 with him. I get it. Like it's exciting, but he's already kind of declining a little bit, I thought, with Jacksonville. So, I'm not loving Ingram, but do love Nix, love the Broncos offense, but I just think it's going to be hard to handicap. So by Nix, that's what I'm doing too. What are you looking at for this team?
Yeah, so let's talk about the running backs. So, the Broncos, they finally got rid of Javonte Williams, your guy, and they drafted RJ Harvey, which everyone, myself included, loved the landing spot because he probably will be the lead back on day one. So after the draft, after the dust settled, his ADP was 62 overall, RB 21. Then they signed J.K. Dobbins when me, you, and Jamino were recording a podcast. I remember that. They signed J.K. Dobbins. And his ADP has remained at 62 and RB 21. So basically no change ever since the Dobbins signing. Is that are you in line with that, or did you lower him at all? Do you think RJ Harvey's a good buy or sell at RB 21 right now? Like, how do you see this shaking out this year?
I hate to say it, but probably a sell. I just think there's really a wide receiver arms race in those middle rounds, and like it's kind of shaped. You know how we always talk about you don't want to lose your draft early in the first few rounds because everyone's kind of drafted the stud running backs, but then held off on like those shaky RB2s for the most part until they've drafted 4 receivers, and it kind of extends that I don't want to screw up period a little bit deeper into drafts. And Harvey could be their RB1, but he could be like a Darren Sproles where he's only getting a few carries and it's a lot of catches, and that might, he'd have to hit a bunch of big plays. And Sean Payton, it's like Shanahan. You just don't know with him. He's liable. I mean, for all we know, it could be Bidet or Watson. It could be Blake Watson. He looked good last year. I'm serious. I'm not even kidding.
Yeah.
And Estime's still on that roster too. McLaughlin's still on the roster. He was getting featured work at one point. I mean, Javante's gone, yes, but really the backfield's a lot more crowded to the point where, I mean, is J.K. Dobbins 100? How much guaranteed money did he get? Do you remember? Do you know?
No, I don't remember.
Because is he even a lock to make the team? I think he is, but it seems so crowded that I almost wonder if they just go with young guys, because it took a long time for Dobbins to get signed. So I'm guessing the league is not looking upon him super favorably, despite the resurgent season a year ago, which makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I think he's a sell. I hate to say it. I just think it's going to be really. It's kind of like the Bills, where it could be a very, very good offense, but it's going to be really tough to predict week to week. Probably best ball only outside of Knicks and Cortland Sutton, and hopefully Harvey drops, because I have him, I think RB29. So I'm a little bit lower. I just think you have to account for Dobbins and the fact that he could be more of a Sproles archetype.
Yeah, I agree. And you have to consider the running backs that are going in this range. It's Alvin Kamara, who you obviously like, James Conner,
Love him.
I like. So 2 vets that, they're not sexy picks, but they're dependable as long as they're healthy. And then Travion Henderson you can get after Harvey. My guy David Montgomery is right in that range. So yeah, there's backs with maybe a little more stable floor and ceiling than even Harvey. So I got the the hype, the landing spot and everything, but yeah, the more you look at this depth chart, the more it could just be I wouldn't say a hot hand approach, but every week could be a little bit different than the next, which is, you never want that when you have a running back, especially if you're taking him as like an RB2. You don't want this much uncertainty. So yeah, I'm a little bit bearish on Harvey right now.
And the fact that you have you took another receiver on day 2 in Pat Bryant, and Troy Franklin reportedly having a much better camp and already has that chemistry. Now you're looking at a situation where Marvin Mims may end up being more of a backfield guy this year. Because remember that stretch where, what was he getting, like 4 or 5 backfield rush carries at one point in the season?
Yeah.
So That's something you have to factor into, because I'm pretty sure that's what Sean Payton is going for this year. He wants, big-bodied contested catch guys at receiver, and then chess pieces are like at the other positions, like tight end, the backfield and whatnot. So everything he's kind of done is kind of suggested as much. So yeah, and then I mean you would have to think that if Estime or Dobbins makes the final roster, they could be the number 1 goal line back too, which, I mean, Harvey could just be Kamara, but you could just get Kamara in that range. Like, you know what I mean? So yeah. It's tough, because I really did like him, but every best ball drafter just scooped him up, and I think we have to kind of hope his ADP falls. Kansas City. I'll ask you a similar question. Would you rather Patrick Mahomes as your QB1 or Travis Kelce as your tight end 1?
Oh man, that's a tough one. I mean, I both have them ranked similarly. I'm gonna go with Mahomes.
Yeah, I think I don't think it's close. I mean, I just think it's all upside with Mahomes. He's had just tumultuous last few years where his receivers have been hurt. The league adjusted with the 2 high shells to his deep passes, and Kelce's just old. Like, he's kind of like an honorary member of the team at this point. They're just gonna at any point they could end up bubble wrapping him into the playoffs. Although they seemed like they bubble wrapped Noah Gray. I don't know what was going on with that. Remember that last like you were betting his unders every week. I think.
Yeah.
That was concerning.
Which I thought, why would they be doing that? But I was still betting on his unders. But yeah, I think this year they would have to scale back Kelsey's snaps at some point. And they drafted another tight end too, right? So might have more bodies that they could throw out there. But yeah, it's so weird seeing Kelsey not ranked number one. Did they draft
another tight end? I thought last year, right? Wiley, was it that Wiley?
Well, they definitely did last year. Wiley, I thought, was like the long-term plan. They didn't draft. I think I'm just thinking Wiley. Wiley was sort of like a potential post-Kelsey pick. But yeah, it's just so weird not seeing Kelsey ranked number one. But that's for a reason. Just last year, he just didn't have it. He only scored 4 touchdowns, but just wasn't as good after the catch. So he is in sharp decline. And we'll talk about the receivers when I bring up my question. But I think definitely Mahomes has more upside because the pass catchers other than Kelsey are all in the upswing. So I think that could help Mahomes in terms of more explosive plays and things like that. So yeah, give me Mahomes over Kelsey.
Yeah, they're talking about throwing the ball downfield again.
Right.
If guys are healthy and free of their legal woes, which big but if they are, you would have a starting group of Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, and Marquise Brown with Juju as your number 4 and Jay Royals in there. That's who they drafted. He's a wide receiver, but he's got some promise. And then you also drafted a running back with some juice in Smith. So it seems like they want to kind of get back to being creative in the passing game, creating easy looks for Mahomes. But I thought they got better at that quick game too last year, late in the, especially when Marquise Brown came back. So yeah, I think Mahomes, he could end up going back to the Mahomes of old, and Kelsey's still there. Noah Gray's still a great tight end too. So yeah, love Mahomes. Kelsey could be concerning, but I will say this: I might end up betting Kelsey to lead the league in receiving touchdowns, because I could see a situation where, like, think about the Chiefs. They have every base covered, but in the red zone, Andy Reid can kind of do what he wants and scheme whoever the ball, but they don't really have that many prototypical guys. Like, remember last postseason, I was betting on like Juju and guys to score touchdowns and Worthy because like they don't really have touchdown scorers. That's the one thing they lack. So I could see Kelsey setting like career lows in all his volume stats across the board, but catching like 15 touchdowns because Andy Reid just makes sure he gets one every single game. I could see that kind of thing playing out.
He's going to be like Jody Fortson on steroids.
Did Jody Fortson ever actually catch a touchdown?
I thought he did. No? He did.
He might have.
Yeah, I think he had 5 catches for 5 touchdowns. I think that was his official stat line.
Oh my God! Who's the Lions guy that used to do the Pettigrew? Brandon Pettigrew. Oh, no, not him. There was another guy. Who was the guy that he would only catch touchdowns? Was it Pettigrew, or was there another guy? He had like his rookie year or year 2 where he just caught like 12 balls and like 8 of them were touchdowns or something like that. And he always did like a funky dance.
I think it was Pettigrew, but we've had this discussion before, and then I think it turned out to be somebody that we blanked on. Jody Fortson has 4 touchdowns on 15 career receptions.
Oh wow! Any in the postseason or no? All in the regular?
All in the regular season.
Yeah, because I'm pretty sure I've definitely bet him to score in the postseason, and it never has cashed. But Joseph Fourier, that was the tight end I was thinking of. I think Pettigrew was the starter. Fourier had this one season where he caught like every catch was a touchdown, and then he would do a dance, and I think he washed out of the league like a year later. But yeah, 7 touchdowns on 18. No, not to that extreme, but I mean, if anyone can scheme up a touchdown for a specific guy, it's Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes, and Kelsey. That's where he can do his work, because we know the rest of that squad's going to eat between the 20s. But what are you kind of looking at for the Chiefs heading into 2025?
Yeah, let's talk about the receivers, specifically the top two guys. This isn't like the Titans where I'm going to make you talk about, the garbage. Would you rather have Rashee Rice at wide receiver 12 or Xavier Worthy at wide receiver 24?
Worthy, but I'm I'm lower than I'm thinking consensus on both of those.
Oh, really?
ADPs.
I was going to say none of the above or all the above is also an option.
None of the above. None of the above.
Okay.
Mahomes.
Just get them all. When you take Mahomes, you get them all. Is that kind of the process? Yeah.
It's really tough to project, and I think there's warning signs for each of them. Rice has a very limited but specific route tree, but with everyone else healthy, he could see a little bit of a dip too. And then Worthy really didn't pop off until later in the year when everyone else was out, and I just don't think he's going to be able to match that same usage with Rice and Brown healthy. And you're also talking about potentially using your running back in the pass game more if Smith ends up breaking into the rotation, which it sounds like they already have a role for him. So yeah, just a lot of mouths to feed. I prefer Mahomes, but Rice keeps rising up boards. I think Worthy is kind of being drafted as if like it's the end of last year and Brown's only playing a few snaps and Rice is out. So it's hard for me to get either of these guys at ADP. So I'm kind of settling for Mahomes and hoping we get back to the Mahomes old. What's your view on this rotation? Because you got to factor in Juju for his 40%.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So I'm with you. I would go Worthy there. It's almost like it looks like Rice won't be facing any legal issues this year, and it's almost like the ADP thought that wasn't already being factored in. So his ADP has just been skyrocketing lately, which I think is just too much. Like I have him wide receiver 18. I think that's a fair price for him, and I could see how you'd be excited. But Worthy is there now, so he's going to have to compete with him. And to your point, he did look way better at the end of the season, but I thought that was going to be his path as a rookie. Like he was going to start off a little bit raw, but I liked what I saw at the end of the season. So I think also at the end of the day, with Kelsey's decline, there is more opportunity for the receivers. So I think they're going to, definitely get the yardage. But they have limited touchdown upside, especially if you're right. And they're just going to wheel Kelsey out there for red zone situations and, throw to him. But I do think their upside is limited. So at the end of the day, I think this is great news for Mahomes because we just haven't seen as explosive passing attack the past couple seasons. So I think this is all great news for Mahomes, but it's going to be a little bit more spread out, kind of like, the Bills last season. So it's going to be hard to pinpoint anybody offering value. But out of these two, I think Worthy definitely at that price point, wide receiver 24, he offers enough upside to definitely take at spots as a low end wide receiver too.
Yeah, I just think you got to kind of go back and look at certain things in fantasy. It goes beyond the players themselves, and you have to look at it from the organizational standpoint, which is why we're doing this podcast. And we just know better than to put all our chips in Chiefs wide receiver baskets. Like you take the cheap guy. It's like the Shanahan handcuff situation, or like the McVay rookie fade is, you know what I mean? Or rookie running back fade, I should say. We've seen this happen time and time again, where all of the Chiefs wide receivers could be overvalued, but right now the guy that's not really costing anything is Marquise Brown. So. Yeah. I'm just going to take him, and if he rises and those guys come down to more palatable ADPs in line with my rankings, I have Worthy around, I think, a little lower than that, and Rice in the mid to high teens. Then I'll kind of buy back in. But nightmares of Kadarius Toney and Sky Moore and MVS and this guy, and it's like Justin Watson is the guy. You know what I mean? So it's not right off Juju, who they really still like. And he already had like like 2 careers. Like he was like a superstar, then he was washed, and now he's having like a whole second resurgence, and he's starting to emerge again, and he's still young.
And he's still only like 26, 27.
Yeah, exactly. So don't sleep on him. And then they drafted a wideout, and they're gonna find a way to get a couple of games in for Justin Ross and Sky Moore. So and
Wait,
Nico Rubio.
I was joking. Do you know how old Juju really is?
28?
I wasn't far off.
28?
Yeah, 28. Yeah.
Yep, yeah. No, I mean our guy
Jeez.
Matthew Freeman. That's why I was so high on him, because he like when guys break out that young, that's a big indicator of career success. But it was almost like Antonio Brown was just such an outlier that I think that really kind of helped in him breaking out and having that monster year. But he's still a valuable piece of this wide receiver rotation. He's their best blocker at wide receiver. And remember, they have a bunch of these like, faster speed guys, smaller types, over the middle slot inside guys. So his blocking, he's going to be on the field quite a bit. And then if Royals also breaks out as a rookie, it could be tough to predict from week to week. Like Rice is still a beast, but a lot of him worthy. It's all schemes stuff. So that's Andy Reid could do whatever the hell he wants with that. So that's why it's all about Patty this year. How do we not talk about Pacheco? I'm out on Pacheco if anyone cares. Brashard.
Yeah, I was going to bring that up, but I like to just see what he looks like because he already looks the same.
No, I'm saying like I would too, but that's kind of the like what is his real upside this year though, because he's not a pass catching back. They have a full complement, and he's not really a great goal line guy either. So it's the fact that they brought Hunt back and Mitchell and drafted Smith. I think writing's on the wall. Like, he's one of those guys. Like I'm just we know this. We learned this with Edwards-Helaire and Damian Williams, and who was the guy before that? With Shady McCoy. Like we know this about the Chiefs' backfield, and so the definition of crazy is you keep reaching for the same thing. I'm out. I'm all the way out on IP. All right, Raiders. I'm in on Genty though. Is you think his ADP is too rich? We talked about it on the favorites with Simon Hunter and Chad Millman. Simon's all on Genty. I mean, McCaffrey goes ahead of him. Am I crazy to think Genty might be a safer, better pick, just given the age and where?
No, I think that's a good point. I think RB5 is perfect for him. So the market's pretty sharp on this. This is where he should go. But yeah, he's probably a safer bet than McCaffrey at this point in his career. And running backs, I mean, they're in their prime right away, like earlier in their career. So we're probably going to get Genty's prime years right off the rip. And I love that he's playing for Pete Carroll. He has, zero competition in the running back room. So yeah, he's going to be a true workhorse back. Mixing in the passing game as well. He's not like a rookie running back where we don't know if he's going to be in, for passing situations. He will be. So yeah, I think again, the first round, or second round, you're just trying to avoid disaster. And I don't think he provides that. I think he has a high floor and high ceiling right away as a rookie. So yeah, I have him RB5 and I would absolutely take him there whenever I can.
Yeah, and I actually, again, I think third down has kind of changed. Like, so when you say passing situations, like, I think they did get Mostert to play on third downs, but just to, throw his body at an oncoming linebacker who's blitzing Geno Smith.
Second and 7, Geno Smith drop backs the pass. Genty's running a route. That's what I mean by that.
Yep.
Yeah, not third down, 3rd and 10. That's when you want Mostert out there just to block. There's no reason to throw it to the running back unless he's, running a wheel route. So yeah, Mostert will be taking the carries that we don't even want Genty having anyway. So yeah, he's just going to be a workhorse back in year one.
And I know you were making fun of him, but Sincere McCormick is kind of the Trey Benson of Will Shipley's or something. Like he's like he has massive upside. Because Mostert, I don't think would get the featured work. And then the other backs on the roster are Dylan Lobby and Chris Collier. Collier is like a special teams only guy, and Lobby fumbled and just pretty much never played again. Now it is a new coaching regime, but I mean it's also a new coaching regime. So
well, they ran out of running backs, and Lobby still didn't play, so that was a bad sign.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Where's Zamir White these days? Is he there? No, I think
he's still there.
Cut him, right? Oh, he is.
No, he's still there.
No.
Who the hell was it that had just like a career game? Amir Abdullah.
Oh, and he's not even on the roster.
Yeah, he's not. Yeah, damn it. Yeah, they had him and Madison last year, so yeah, much easier team to project.
They need like a Rex Burkhead.
No, they don't.
No, they don't. But but I mean, I'm Sincere. Would you agree that Sincere has a chance to be the handcuff, even if Mostert is like the passing down specialist? I mean, at this age, I feel like McCormick showed enough to be the early down, direct backup, early down guy.
Yeah, I mean, Mostert's 33 years old, so not much left in the tank. Definitely like a good veteran to have in certain packages and stuff like that. But if, God forbid, Genty misses time, I think McCormick, he showed enough last year. They would probably turn him. I mean, Zamir White still is a talented back, so we'll see. But yeah, McCormick. That was just a shot at Chad trying to get on McCormick. I think it was like McCormick, 1.5 receptions. He was asking if that was a good play one way or the other. But yeah, I think McCormick could be the handcuff if Genty misses time.
You think Zamir White is a talented back? I think you don't think there are 96 more talented running backs in the National Football League right now than Zamir White?
He had talent coming in the NFL. He was drafted in the 4th round for a reason. He hasn't really shown much. Although, what was it, 2023? He did, I might have had a 100-yard game.
Yeah, was it that the Josh was that with Josh McDaniels? Did he have like that? Because it was like Josh McDaniels just does that to running back sometimes. With Garrett Blunt, Jonah Gray, like I feel like you got to write that off.
Week 16. That's why this guy's my hero. Aiden O'Connell. He has the weirdest box scores. That was the game he threw for 62 yards. They had that. Aiden O'Connell also led them to that 0-3 overtime game. It was like tied 0-0 at the end.
Oh my goodness, that was a tough watch, man.
And then they had the Thursday Night Football game where they won like 72-6.
Yeah, was it like the week after too, or something? Like it was like in short succession. Talk about regression.
It was the exact next week they won 63-21.
0% owned, probably like 0% started at least in Yahoo leagues or every league. Like just
that's
ridiculous.
the Aiden O'Connell experience. Pour one out for Aiden O'Connell. I think that's it. Last year might have been it for him.
Wait, is he not on the roster anymore?
No, I mean, Geno Smith is for sure the starting quarterback.
Oh, but AOC's still on the... Okay. Yeah.
AOC's still the backup.
They dropped Bradley recently. But AOC should be the backup.
He's still there. We might get some patented AOC games one way or the other. So,
didn't Nick Foles blow up under Chip Kelly? Wasn't that...
Yeah.
That was... Yeah. So
he did,
AOC
right?
is Nick Foles.
Or that was it Mark Sanchez?
No, Nick Foles. Remember that year? Nick Foles just had like an absolutely ridiculous year. He had like a 7-touchdown game.
Yeah.
Like that's AOC this year. Gino get banged up, gesturing out of bounds to the opposing sideline and bang his finger on somebody's helmet. He'll miss 5 weeks. AOC will start and just go completely ape shit. just like nothing but deep bombs to Thornton and Tucker.
Oh my! I'm getting excited over here. Just when I thought I was out on AOC, you're pulling me right back in.
Yeah, baby. But you do have a very interesting question about the Raiders. So shoot.
Yeah. So this is a little bit different than the Titans of like, I guess who the hell cares who's going to be the number 2 receiver? The Raiders are different. I think this matters. So Who do you think is going to step up? We're going to say Jacoby Myers is the wide receiver 1. Who's going to step up to be the number 2 wide receiver in this offense this year?
I think it's between Thornton and Tucker, and I'm gonna say it's gonna be Thornton because Chip Kelly. Remember Riley Cooper? Remember that?
Yeah.
I think the same year as Nick Foles. Yeah, that's Thornton. Just like a guy nobody expects, just bigger body guy, probably gonna ex receiver. Everyone's just expecting wind sprints, and you look up and he might have 5 touchdowns. He might be the new Alec Pierce. Trey Tucker. Also, I like Besh, the rookie. I like his film, but he's one of those guys where it's like you don't know exactly, like athletically, it's kind of touch and go. So he's a guy that it might not translate fully. And from what I've been hearing in camp, Thornton's running with the starters as the X, and then they're moving Myers into a lot more slot duties and 3 wide, and then Tucker is still the other receiver. And remember, Tucker was on the field like 90% of the time. Guys like that don't usually just dip from 90 to like back up. So I'm gonna say that I have the starting 3 projected right now as Myers, Tucker, Thornton, and Thornton would be your best ball, big play, MVS, Alec Pierce. Is that kind of how you have it too? Have you been lowering Besh a bit, or?
Besh is interesting because I like him as a player. Like he's solid all around player. He was a former tight end. And he's going to win, like underneath routes and things like that. But they already have Brock Bowers there. So there's a little too much overlap for him to really pop with Bowers there and, Jacoby Myers. So I think, the guy that can really blow the lid off the defense would be Thornton. I think that would be a good combo if like Genty's cooking, the run game's cooking, and you have like play action options throwing it deep to Thornton downfield. That can make a ton of sense. So just the way this is setting up, I'm not as high on Besh now that I've been able to project things and lay it out. So, but they have, solid receivers, and, Trey Tucker's still, I know he's our colleague Nick Giffin's favorite receiver.
When AOC is in.
Huh?
When AOC is in the line.
Oh yeah, when
because
AOC.
He throws those deep balls, yeah.
Yeah, but Gino can give him those. But Trey Tucker's still in the mix. So they just, they have a solid depth chart, in my opinion, out receiver. But the one thing I didn't ask, but one of the training camp questions I have is what's their plan with like Michael Mayer, because he was, potentially the first tight end in 2023's draft class. So they still have him. Like, is he going to get traded somewhere? Like, it's a mystery what their plan is with Mayer, but he would be solid if he were to be traded anywhere that needed a tight end. He's a guy that I'd be interested in, but just curious to see what their long-term plan was with him now that, Brock Bowers is one of the best tight ends in the league.
I think Mayer will just kind of be that, standard more inline classic tight end, because remember, Bowers is a glorified slot receiver. Like,
right.
When they're in 2 wide, Jacoby Myers will probably kick outside, and Thornton or Tucker or probably one of those 2 guys will probably play on the perimeter opposite Myers, and then Bowers will be your slot, and Mayer will be your tight ends, or your inline guys. So I think he'll still it's kind of like Cole Kmet. Like, there's still a lot of options to play him because tight ends these days are just glorified slot receivers. It's like in Pittsburgh. Like, Jonnu Smith could just essentially be their slot receiver, and Freiermuth will be their inline guy. And that's how they'll kind of roll with that. So it's not like it used to be back in the day where you only had like room for one. And that was, I should have been ahead of that last year. I did not regrettably get enough of Brock Bowers last season. And I mean, thankfully I still did okay at tight end because I was all over like Ertz and guys like that. But it's that was a tough one to be underweight on him because of Mayer. So not making that mistake again. But
Yeah.
I think he, in terms of like pass catching, he'll probably be the odd man out, him and Besh. Thornton in best ball is intriguing. I got a ton of him when that first report came out that he was running with the starters. So have some like Geno stacks with Thornton and one of the other guys. So hopefully those can hit. Maybe I should go with some AOC stacks after talking to you.
There we go.
Chargers. Here's an interesting one. Trey Harris, rookie. Quentin Johnston, heading into year 3, and then Mike Williams already on the pup. Classic Mike Williams. They need to acquire Keenan Allen so he can land on IR too. But
what's up with Keenan? Is he's just hanging out?
He's a proud man that is probably not getting the contract offers he desires, or he's just chilling and does not want to be a part of camp.
That's what I'm thinking.
Or a mix of both.
Yeah.
But my question to you is, who steps up? We love Ladd McConkey. I mean, he talk about another guy who could be like a Amon-Ra type numbers. Ladd McConkey is it. I think he's just an excellent receiver in all aspects and plays bigger than even his size at times too. But they're going to need an X so they can get Johnston out of that role and play him where he can move around and make the most of his career. So Trey Harris, what do you think? Is Trey Harris going to be that second most valuable Charger pass catcher? Will it be Johnston post hype, or will it be one of the tight ends? Will it be nobody? What say you?
Yeah, I think it'll be Harris. I don't know if it'll be right away. I think they might give Quentin Johnston maybe another crack at it, but I think Harris will emerge as being the number 2 wide receiver in this offense. But I am a little bit concerned. I don't know what's going on, but the contract that the Texans gave Jaden Higgins was fully guaranteed, which has never happened for a second round pick before. So a lot of second rounders, including Trey Harris, are following suit. So he hasn't signed yet. If he starts missing, a lot of camp, that's going to be a setback. So I'm going to be, watching that closely. But I like Trey Harris. He's going to be a solid deep ball wide receiver. And anytime you have that with Justin Herbert, I think that's a good mix. I think Justin Herbert is an excellent downfield passer. So I think he has a ton of upside in this offense with, Ladd McConkey being the top target. It's going to open things up for Trey Harris. So I think we've seen enough from Quentin Johnston to know that he's not at the ceiling end of what we thought his range of outcomes would be. And Mike Williams is already hurt. So I think Trey Harris would be the favorite. It just might not be week 1, but I think during the season, Harris will emerge as being the number 2 target in this offense.
Yeah, this is why I love this time of year and these type of conversations, because you can kind of understand what teams are thinking and how they plan to, what the reasons for were with certain moves. And I think looking at the failures of Johnston and looking at what they have, which is a guy in McConkey that best suited for the slot, can move outside, but he's going to play off the line of scrimmage. So you needed an X, right? So Mike Williams is kind of like the backup choice at X. Johnston, I think they moved to Z, and I think Harris is a starter from week 1. And I think I favor Harris even more than Higgins, just because of the fact that Harris, unlike Higgins, and they're kind of the same, a little bit of the same mold, but Harris was a true man beater in college. He was a true press beater in college, whereas Higgins played more like a Z, even though long-term he might be an X. He's going to play Z this year too, so it might be moot. But Harris at X, I think, is going to unlock this passing game. I think it could lead to just better all-around offense, more third down conversions, more play volume. And the thing about it is, what I like to look at is they nailed that McConkey pick. Like, absolutely nailed it. So the fact that they went out and drafted another receiver early in the draft, and this is still, this is a Greg Roman offense, so it's not like like receivers is always his top priority, and they damn sure have a good one that they got last year early in the draft. So the fact that they went out and they get Hampton and then they go Harris, and that's how they feel. That's what they felt they needed to do for this team. Even though I think the defense, it was very good at times, but it also was shaky at times. And they went skill positions. That tells me that Harris is in their plans. And the fact that they nailed that McConkey pick gives me a lot more optimism about Harris. I think he's a real great fit for what they do. And I love the fact that he can win contested balls and man, so he could be like, remember Mike Williams when he would just put up those monster numbers alongside Keenan Allen with Justin Herbert? Like, I think you could see that not the rookie Mike Williams, mind you, but I think you could see that kind of upside for Harris. So he's another guy, him and along with Higgins, that I'm getting a lot of. Love that range. Best is kind of the odd man out. I think he's the guy that's probably trending the wrong direction.
Oh, right.
Of those second rounders. What are you looking at for this Chargers squad?
Yeah, let's look at tight end because like they have 3 tight ends all within like 5 slots of ADP. So right now it's tricky to draft them because we don't really know who's going to emerge. But curious to hear who you think will lead this Chargers tight end room. Let's say receptions this year. Who do you think is going to be the lead tight end of this group?
Matlock. Had to get a fullback reference in there sometime.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, he's gonna be on the field. Yeah, I think his role is going to increase from what I hear.
I'll float a Matlock prop. I'll have like a receptions, rush attempts,
over under half a reception for the season.
Yeah, like something like rushing touchdown. I'll have a Matlock prop for you off the side. I think that's warranted at this point because the books won't give us one. I got to do James Prochet. I got to do something like that with you. But
is he on a roster? I don't know if he's on a roster.
Prochet?
Right?
Not anymore.
Oh, he might. Yeah. Wasn't he on the? No, he wasn't on the Titans, right?
No.
It would be fitting if he was. Oh my God, he's on the Titans.
Oh, he's on the Titans. Oh,
he's on the Titans. Add another one to the list, baby.
All right. I'll give over a half catch
under
at like 50 to 1 odds.
Under. But to answer your question,
yes,
I think the correct answer is Tyler Conklin, but I am admittedly a bit miffed, and I think any of the 3 could. I think the thing about Gadsden is he's a very intriguing rookie, and he has that talent. So that's the guy I'm drafting if I'm trying to take a best ball dart. But he could just be the Stone Smart role.
Yeah.
Because they also signed Conklin, and I thought like Disley showed enough as a pass catcher, but then from everything I've been reading and hearing out of Charger camp, they signed Conklin to be the pass catcher so that Disley can return to more of a blocking role, which does make sense because they did have Hayden Hurst as like a catch-only tight end last year. It just didn't work out. So I guess I'm going to say Conklin, but in a year or two, I would think Gadsden would be the guy that if there's any value here, it's him. But this year, it's just going to be an unsexy, probably three-way committee. What do you think?
Yeah, unfortunately, I think you're right. There was a 2-3 week stretch last year. I was all excited over Will Disley. That fizzled out pretty quickly. But the tight end position is something they definitely wanted to upgrade in the offseason. And heading into the draft, they were a famous, popular landing spot for like Tyler Warren if he fell there. And then like Colston Loveland was expected to be available there. So they didn't have a shot at either of those guys. So they had to punt tight end for a bit. But, they got Amarian Hampton, which we didn't talk about the running backs yet. But that it's going to be interesting to see like what's up with Najee Harris and that backfield, how it sorts out. That's probably more important for fantasy.
Najee Gus Edwards Harris or Najee Hassan Haskins Harris? Which one? Well, I don't know. It's Hampton. It's going to be Hampton.
Oh, obviously it's Hampton. No, but like if Najee, like I don't know the extent of his eye injury, but like that's a concern if he can't see out of one eyeball.
What is the proper protocol for like? Do you wear like is it goggles or like what is the proper protocol so you don't murk yourself with fireworks. I've only done the firework thing a couple times as an adult, and luckily nothing's gone wrong. But
yeah,
there's got to be something these guys are missing, right?
Yeah, it's it wouldn't hurt to wear protective eyewear, but anglet, so it's not facing at you, because they're very unpredictable. Having a longer fuse, I think it helps. I think a lot of these incidents, like we had some last year when the Dodgers won the World Series, like if the fuse is small, that's where you have a lot of accidents. You need a longer fuse to get the hell out of there. So I don't know exactly what happened, but it's not good. For a back that's been so durable, he's never missed a game in his entire life. And then he gets hurt and like a stupid off the field incident. So just something you got to monitor. Huh? Oh yeah,
that's all on the Entourage. You gotta remember how in Entourage they would just protect Vinny at all costs. Like you got to treat your $1 million plus, multi-million dollar NFL in his prime. Running backs especially have shorter shelf lives. Right. So like who is letting him even get near those things to where he could get an eye injury or whole thing like that. Is somebody failed unless he was alone, which I haven't dug too deep into it, so I'm not sure the details. But man, be safe out there, kids. Yeah. So Conklin, unsexy. I think Harris is the upside bet in this pass catching corpse. But McConkey, wide receiver 1, maybe even top 5 season incoming. He's that good. All right, that's going to do it for today's episode of the Fantasy Flex. That was part 1 of our AFC training camp questions. We'll be back with part 2. That's the AFC East and the AFC North to close it out strong. Don't forget, the all-new Fantasy Labs app has just dropped. You can get me and Koerner's rankings. Remember, both of us top 6 in rankings accuracy for season 1 over the past 3 seasons, according to Fantasy Pros. So you can get all of that, all of our stuff in there. Really excited about the Fantasy Labs app, and you can get $20 off right now when you download the Fantasy Labs app and sign up for an NFL subscription for 2025. So go check out the new Fantasy Labs app, and you can find Sean on X at @_oddsmaker. I'm at Chris Raybon, and we're at those same handles on the free award-winning Action Network app. Until part 2 is Get This Money.